Okay, so for our last section, this comes from section 3.6. What we're going to do first is we're going to take care of this parentheses right here. And so I need to distribute the negative 16 to the 8 and negative x. Now if you want to pretend like there's an equal sign right here, if that helps you, then all means go ahead and do that. That might make it easier for you to solve it. It's just like the multi-step equations that we did in lesson 3.3. Alright, so if I distribute this, that's negative 16 times 8, which is negative 128. And then I have a negative 16 times a negative x. A negative times a negative will give me a positive 16x. And then I'll bring everything else down. So when I get ready to solve this, I want to move my variables together. You can either subtract 30x from this side or subtract 16x from this side. Either is fine, it doesn't matter. So what I'll do, I'll just subtract the 16x from both sides. 30x minus 16x will give you 14x. Bring down everything else. Okay. Since the variable's on this side, I'll work on the left side. I'll need to get rid of that negative 100 by adding 100. Negative 128 plus 100 is negative 28. Bring everything else down. And then to get rid of that 14, of course, I'll divide by 14. So my answer is x is less than or equal to negative 2. You don't have to flip your sign. So I have a negative 2. Make sure you do your number line correctly. Close circle, shade to the left. Okay, 2 more. For number 37, the first thing I need to do is get rid of this divide by 7. So what I need to do is, since we're dividing by 7 here, to get rid of this fraction, I'll multiply by 7 on both sides. So I have x plus 25 left over here. And when I multiply by 7 over here, I'll get negative 21x minus 217. Okay? So now I need to get my variables together. I can either add 21x to this side, or I can subtract 1x over here. Either is fine. I'll just subtract a 1x from both sides. So I'll have negative 22x minus 217 is greater than 25. Since my x is on the left side, I'll work on this side. To get rid of this negative 217, I'll add it. So I add 217 to both sides. And I'll get positive 242. Alright, so right here, to get rid of your negative 22, you're going to have to divide by negative 22. And we divide by negative 22. Remember, when you divide by a negative, you have to flip your sign. So this turns into a less than. 242 divided by negative 22 gives me negative 11. If it helps you to, before you start a problem, recognize, if you need to, if you're going to multiply or divide by a negative, flip your sign. Do that, if you can, do that before you can start the problem. So I have negative 11, negative 10, negative 12. Make sure you do your number line correctly always. Open circle, shade to the left. Okay. For my last one, the first thing I need to do is get rid of this fraction over here. We're dividing by 3, so now I need to multiply everything by 3, both sides. Those cancel each other out, so I have 36 plus x is less than or equal to. We need to multiply this whole side by 3, so we're going to distribute the 3. So I have 21x minus 48 times 3 gives me 144. Now you can either, to get the variables together, you can subtract x from this side or subtract 21x from this side. It does not matter. I'm sorry, that's not supposed to be an x. So you can subtract x or subtract 21x. I'll just subtract 21x from both sides. So I have 36. 1 minus 21 will give me negative 20x. Okay? Is less than or equal to negative 144. So now I can get my constants together. Subtract 36 from both sides. So I have negative 20x is less than or equal to negative 180. Okay? They have the same sign, so you add them and keep their sign. For my last step, I'm going to divide by a negative 20. Of course, when we divide by a negative, we want to flip our sign. And then negative 180 divided by negative 20 gives me a positive 9. To graph it, we're going to have a 9, 10 closed circle. So we have an equal to sign right here. And we're going to shade to the right. I hope this helped you study for your test. Let me know if you have any trouble or need any extra help.